What have you got?
Here's a great one from Andy Pay in '87. One day in physics, Mr. Schertz decided to demonstrate Newton's third law of equal and opposing forces. It was his first term at Hawken, and other than his obvious enthusiasm for teaching and his dedication to his students, he spent many evenings force-feeding me Jolt Cola to get me through his problem sets. Schertz was certainly an unknown quantity. He sat down on a wooden stool with cast rollers, pointed the fire extinguisher at the wall, and lit her up. Although Mr. Schertz flew backwards on his stool as the force of the chemical and gas pushed against the wall, he also badly bruised his arms. We heard him yelp under the growing cloud of potassium bicarbonate and other chemicals that filled the room. Students headed for the doors. I will not forget that law of physics, a personal sacrifice, but well played, Mr. Schertz.
Didn't he drop a bowling ball in his foot this year?
He did earlier in the fall.
All right, I've got one from Adam Carreras from the class of 2002. Traditionally, homeroom or advisory board sessions, whatever they're called nowadays, were accompanied with a snack of some sort, donuts, bagels, etc. However, following a session that provided no snack left me heading to freshman history class with my stomach rumbling. On a classroom desk, I found an abandoned bagel, sliced, neatly spread with cream cheese, and laying on a napkin. Hunger replaced logic, and I grabbed the bagel, raised it over my head, and asked the class, "Hey, is this someone's bagel?" I asked again, "Hey, is someone going to eat this?" Right when I thought I was in the clear, Miss Jones entered the room. She barely stood 5 feet tall, but was feisty. She really was feisty. Shocked and appalled, with the entire class watching, she asked, "Did you touch that? That's my bagel." Stunned, my only reply was, I was just seeing whose it was. "You touched it with your hands?" she shrieked. I muttered. I anxiously left the classroom to get a drink of water before the next class began. In my peripheral vision, I see Miss Jones talking to some of the prettiest girls on the field hockey team that she coached. And he's standing there holding my bagel with his hands about to eat it, she tells them. They looked equally shocked and appalled as Miss Jones told the tale. I shamefully walked back to the classroom where Miss Jones was kind enough to forgive me after a very solid public beratement. That's hilarious. That's totally Miss Jones.
Here's a great one from my dear friend Hal Kirkham. He says, "I was a terrible history student in 9th grade, and I hadn't a clue how to absorb information in John Tottenham's class. He offered to take my notebook home after class, correct my errors, annotate it with general comments and suggestions about note-taking, and bring it back for the next class. I was astonished, and still am, that a professor would do that. But I think of him every time as I pull out that notebook, which I seem to do with alarming frequency. One recommendation was as follows. Kirkham, you're cramming far too much onto your pages. Paper is still relatively cheap. Don't be afraid to use it."
That's funny.